everybody, this is Roxy. I'm happy to be one of the counselors for Danny's Crafty Camp. What I'm going to be making is what I call camp notes, and they're little notebooks that I use scraps of paper. In this case I made my own plaid paper. These are old Pendaflex folders or file folders that different companies make. They're very easy, they're fun, they're real fluid because I kind of just go by what size my scrap papers are. I'll keep scraps of paper from when I make traveler's notebooks, or in some cases I take index cards and cut them down to a certain size for another project that I do. And then all you need is a method of tying your stick on, and the sticks obviously can be found anywhere in your neighborhood. So I will show you some of the supplies, and then I will make a couple of the notebooks. Okay, so all you need for the basic notebook are your scrap papers, and I kind of like the raggedy edges of things to make it a little more basic and handmade looking. This is the Pendaflex, or there's actually, Smead makes this kind of cardboard for file folders. I'll put a link down below where you can purchase the file folders. Otherwise, as I mentioned later on, you can find this almost every time you go to a Goodwill or a thrift store. Here's some regular paper. This happens to be the Paper Studios Plaid Tidings from last Christmas. They bring it out every year. And I will talk about the scoring on these later on in the video. And then for the basic camp notes, I use a thick rubber band, and for all of my camp notebooks, I use branches from my neighborhood. I decorate it with some little circles, usually scallop. This can be from a die or a punch. I use both depending on the size of my book. And this note label, for instance, is from this Fiskars punch. I think they sell this at Hobby Lobby, and I think Paper Studio has one similar. So that's your basic notepad, and then you can decorate it with stamps. In this case, I used a little sticker from a camping collection pad I had. To stamp or do your camp notes, you can either print it out on using a Word doc in your favorite font. I found these years ago at Michael's. I think a lot of companies still sell these, and it's just an old typewriter font with the uppercase and lowercase. That would be this one, and those, you just stamp them out one by one. This one is from Pebbles. And the problem with this is, and I mentioned it later on, but I wanted to kind of go over it. The problem with this is these spacers. Like, you just write out your sentiment or whatever and just put spacers between the letters, and, like this. But the problem is that they get inked up. Like, this one's pretty high. I don't know if you can see that. But that spacer is really high. You can kind of get it to about there. But I just make sure that I wipe these off carefully before I stamp. And it's a really fun little way to get kind of different sentences or whatevers. And that one, where did I put it? That one is this one. So that looks really nice, especially with this bold title there. And then Lawn Fawn, as I also mentioned up ahead, these are some of the best fonts because she, Kelly, who owns it, she spaces the acrylic so that the letters will space out properly. So your I isn't going to be all shoved up against the E, the H, or the O, or whatever. You know, there's a method to fonts, and she makes sure that they're all spaced out. The height of every one will line up exactly on the bottom or top. And so that's just a great way to, easy way to stamp out something that you want on your camp notes. And that one is this font here. So it's really nice. And do you see how, I mean, there's no way I would have done that on my own. Trust me. So there's the fonts. And as far as tying these up, I usually use the rubber bands, but I tried the twine today, and I think it's really adorable. I really love it. And basically, you're just shoving the rubber band or the end of a looped piece of twine or ribbon or whatever through the first hole, and then pull it out and stretch it over to the second hole. I do get in the video, I get to where I get too close to myself and you can't see everything, and I'm sorry about that. But I have to see, and I don't have the best eyesight. So anyways, there's all that you need, plus, your sticks. And I would suggest, if you don't already have one, which I would guess you do, but get a crocodile. It's worth the money. You're going to use it all the time for everything, and it will expand your crafting so much that you will enjoy it. And you'll be glad you had it. So on with the crafting. Alright, so I'm going to use this size scrap paper, and I can determine the width of my cover on that. I think this is fine. I usually go about 1/8 of an inch on either side. I can always cut down either side. I've already stamped and colored this little guy, and he is from, it's a Paper Smooches, it's Kim from Kim Hughes. It's her design, but it was when she designed for Cornish Heritage Farms. And this set is called, I think, Bear Hugs. I don't know if it's still available. It's from 2009. But it's really cute, so I used that for him. So now we've just got to figure out what our width is and what the halfway mark is. And now that I think of it, I actually do have a halfway point for when I was stamping. So we want 4 1/4, and that is going to be our score line. There. So that. And then I think the first one I made was with the Pendaflex, folder, and they are always scored so that they can fatten up when you put more and more folders in. So I kind of just kept doing that. I kind of like that. Oops, the score line. And then that also benefits to open up the flap for when you want to jot something down. And I was a little off there, but that's okay. Nobody's gonna sue me. All right, so there's that. And then you can just fold it right in the middle. So then we not want to cut these at 4 1/4. Actually, probably 4 1/8. I'll start with 4 1/8. Running out of room, as usual. Alright, so I'm just going to take a few sheets. So I do have a little camping story. And then I do 4.5. Let me see how that looks. I have to do 4 1/8. Nope. 4. I'm measuredly challenged, so if you watch my channel at all, you already know that. Yeah, so my first experience camping was in 3rd grade. Our grade school had a program one summer. I don't think they did it after that, where we walked up to school, and then the school bus came, because in those days we usually only lived about 2 blocks away from your school. So we'd walk up to school, school bus would come and pick us up and take us to Camp Lacamaga. And it was so exciting, not just to go to camp, but to go on a school bus, like the bigger kids. So that was fun. We get to camp, and we have breakfast, and then we meet all the counselors, just like you guys are meeting all the counselors. And we go out, and the counselors were like high school kids, basically. I mean, they seemed really old, but they were really just like 16, 17 years old themselves. And then there was some older people that kind of managed them or whatever. Okay, now these I would keep for another book. So we're doing this and that and learning songs and coloring. And at about 10:30, I think we left home at 8 o'clock. But I remember it was like 10:30 because I thought, oh, how are we going to eat lunch? Because that's at 11 in those days. So 10:30 comes, and this girl is going to show us how to build a fire. But first, you got to chop some wood. So she's sitting Indian style with her wood and an axe. And I remember thinking, I wonder why she's sitting like that. Because it just didn't seem right. And she went to cut the piece of wood and missed the wood, but did not miss her shin. And it was like in a flash. All these older counselors came, swooped us all out of there, put us on the bus, and off we went back home. So that was the first day at camp. The second day at camp, obviously she wasn't there, but we were told that she was okay. But it was kind of it wasn't even like scary, it was just kind of like, well, that was weird, because we really didn't understand the breadth of what happened. So I hope that didn't gross anybody out. But that's my only, well, actually not only, I did do Girl Scouts, and our troop didn't camp. But when we got older, shoot, I should have gone that way, dang it. Oh, I couldn't have. But when we got older, I was a teen counselor. I think I'm going to cut off some of this. So I got to camp with the younger Girl Scouts as a leader / teen counselor. Just going to trim this off a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Alright, so trim a little branch. This one should be long enough and thick enough, I think. Okay. What else do I need? I might need these. I need my glue, my tricky picker. I might as well just take it all out. Okay. Where's my... There. You need a crocodile unless you have a really good hole punch. I have an antique hole punch that's real heavy duty, but I've just never found anything lately that's as good as a crocodile. So there's that. I think I'm going to do less. I want it too fat. We'll see, because I can't. Wouldn't be able to do it. Alright. I eyeball everything. So I kind of try to go on that first 1/4 inch and then about a 1/2 inch in. Oops. See how hard that is? If I didn't have that, it would be impossible. There. All right, and then we need a little rubber band. And my tricky picker bottom thing. I use this so that I can push the rubber band through. Like you kind of do the pokey part, but not too far, because you don't want to poke through the rubber band. Make a big hole. And then you want it to, so the hole's sideways. Hard. There. Okay. And my stick. I think I'm going to use this one. It's a little heavier duty. These would make great craft fair items to sell. I sell variations of these at craft fairs. And I kind of like some of the nubbies. This is going to go flying. Ow. Thank God for Tim Holtz. Alright. And then we just kind of pull it. There. Got your little camp notes. So then we can decorate some. I've got some extra ones here. I make my own plaid paper, not those. I just use Copic markers and use, I'll show you, like, just use all the ends. So I use this tip, broad tip, to get the orange line. And then the very point of it, there's this tiny yellow line in there. And then the other side, the side we usually color with, I did the blue, the mint color, and the pink. Not that broad pink. But it's fun to make your own plaid paper. And you don't have to be perfect. It really is more fun and wonky when it's not. So I gotta score this. Okay. And I'm going to go a little bit farther in because the paper's narrower. It's about an inch. You can measure this out, but I don't. There's some things I measure, and then that's when I go crazy. There's other, drawer. Alright, oh, there it is. Way over there. I've got, like this I thought looked like worms. So I put that on one of them. And then I had, this is vintage seam binding ribbon. And you can use string, you can use twine. That's the grosgrain. And then for my camp notes, these I used the little, where'd they go? I didn't use nothing on that. I used the little stamp set, but I think I might attempt this. See, like these. That might be too small. I think I might stick to that, because this might be too small and get lost. But it's a good option, because I do like how it looks. It's just that you gotta really be careful with that. I think I'm gonna do that. Maybe put an acorn. Little acorn on it too. there. Alrighty. So thank you so much for watching and joining in with me. I hope you give this a try. I really do enjoy making them. They're so much fun. And again, they use up your scraps. They are easy to find the products for, especially the sticks. Everybody's got a branch out in the backyard. So thanks for watching, and thank you to Danny for creating this fun crafty camp. Talk to you later. Bye.